Hi guys, Chester here. Welcome to my review of The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1. The Book of Boba Fett, Season 1, Episode 5. I think. I was a little confused. Either way, this was, in my opinion, the best and most enjoyable episode of the show so far, which is both a good thing and kind of a bad thing as well. Good in that it was great to pick up with The Mandalorian and see what he's been up to and what's been going on with him. Kind of bad in that, well, we'll get to that. So we open with that awesome first scene where we once again meet Din Djarin on a bounty hunt doing his job, with a great action sequence, and with the Darksaber, which made it even cooler. Then, of course, he finds the armor and Jon Favreau hanging out underneath a floating city where we get the backstory of the Darksaber. Great for those of us who don't know all about the expanded media stuff this stuff comes from. We see the consequences of his removal of the helmet at the end of Season 2, which I thought was interesting. I wondered what would come of that. I'm kind of glad they actually addressed it instead of just letting it go. And then, of course, he has no ship still, so he had to leave on a commercial liner. I know some people don't like this sort of thing, but I do like the little touches they put in of, like, him not being allowed to have his weapons on the ship and having to package them up and getting him at the end. I just like those little things that build out the world and make it more realistic. I don't think it would belong in one of the grand sweeping action of the movies, but in a show, that's weird to me. You can do that stuff, and I'm kind of glad they do. Then, of course, we go back to Tatooine, where he gets a new ship. And I will say, as cool as it is to have one of the Imperial starfighters from the prequels, how is that supposed to help a bounty hunter? Where is he going to put his captives? Is he going to strap him to the wing? Also, how is it supposed to help him in that he lived in his other ship? It was kind of like his home. You can't do that with this. It doesn't really make any sense unless maybe it's a temporary thing until he gets a better ship. Anyways, we get that montage of them repairing the ship, which is a bit too long in my opinion. But what wasn't too long, I think was just right, was that really cool sequence of us flying around, testing it out, going into space, getting pulled over, almost getting caught, and then flying back. That was cool. Then we get the only mention of the character I thought this show was supposed to be about. Fennec Shand comes and tells the Mandalorian that Boba Fett needs his help. It's the only mention of Boba Fett in the Book of Boba Fett. We don't even see the title character of the show itself. And here's where I think my problem with the episode and just the show in general comes in. I joked in the beginning about this being The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1, but I mean, come on, it really did feel like that. As cool as it was to see all this, shouldn't they have saved it for, well, The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1? The show is supposed to be Boba Fett, and this episode highlights for me why it just isn't working overall. While I'm sure there are exceptions, from what I've seen, this is generally considered to be the best episode of the show so far. And it's all because of Mando, the main character from another show. Why is that? Why do we seem to like The Mandalorian more? Hell, I think the problem is in the writing. We formed a connection with the Mandalorian over his 2 seasons because he had a relatable character arc through the story with the child. Boba Fett really hasn't gotten that. I think they tried to give us a similar thing with the Tusken Raiders, but that really didn't work because it was, number one, it was only parts of a few episodes rather than the main focus, so there was no time to flesh it out or give a reason to care about the characters. And number two, we also had no time to get to know Boba Fett before it started. There was no visible character arc at all, really. He didn't really seem to change. He just got out of the pit, got beat up, had a place to stay, learned some new fighting skills, and that's it. We didn't really get to know him. Who is he? What is his motivation? I honestly think that might be why I'm just not as invested in this series. I'm enjoying it for the most part. It's got good elements, but if you're expecting it to be The Mandalorian, I don't think it is. It's a fun little adventure in the Star Wars universe, and maybe that's all it was meant to be. Maybe I'm looking too much into it. I think if you enjoy the show how it is and realize it's never going to have the emotional punch The Mandalorian did it's pretty enjoyable. Not great, but fun. And I am looking forward to seeing how the last 2 episodes play out. Looks like we might see Grogu next week. Maybe? I wonder if we will. I don't know, that'll definitely be interesting if it does indeed happen. But that brings me to another point. One more point I want to make about making this episode so Mandalorian focused. So, there's a lot of people, I know a few of them, who watch The Mandalorian who really aren't into Star Wars, but they watch The Mandalorian because of Grogu and all that stuff. Some of those people would have no interest in watching Boba Fett, and I don't blame them. They're not fans, so why would they invest in this character they maybe even have never heard of? So people who are going to watch The Mandalorian Season 3 who skip Boba Fett, are they going to be confused by all this character development? I mean, not confused. I'm sure they can cover it, most of it in a line, but they missed out on all this stuff. I just really wonder, as cool as it was to see it, why did you put it here? None of this really seems to matter for the Boba Fett story, and it's just, I question the poor choice of putting it here. But yeah, even so, it was still an enjoyable episode. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how the next two episodes of this play out. I'm kind of glad it's almost over. It's fun, but I don't know. Like I said, not great. But what did you guys think? Did you enjoy the episode? Are you enjoying the show? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.